Well, this is Rodney Stillwell, and I am with the Forsyth Jail and Prison Ministries, and we're going to be talking about the 7 Habits class. Over the last 2 years, we've been very excited to implement it as a part of our organization programs, the 7 Habits on the Inside program. We first heard about this by one of our board members whose company had sent him to do the 7 Habits training. And so for a week, he was involved in this class. And one of the recesses of the class, he stepped away and saw that they had a version that was specifically made for incarcerated people. And so he was extremely happy about that. He's on our board of directors, brought the materials back and showed them to us. We looked at them, studied them, went through them, and were very impressed, spoke with some of their representatives, and then began to raise the money that we thought we needed to get this going and started. And so we took off with that, and that was in 2013. So we taught the class a couple times there to the men here at the Cherry Street Prison in Winston-Salem. We implemented it by asking ourselves, how could we teach this to the guys? After reviewing the materials, we had a layperson who was a very gifted teacher who was a volunteer who took the lead in this, and we had another board member who joined alongside of him, and they taught the class, divided the classes up. It runs for about 13 weeks. We have a recess, and we began to put our curriculum together and make it work for our guys. The very first class, we picked about 18 inmates that we thought would do well in it. And they were extremely excited to have been tapped and asked to do this. They read the material. They took part in the small group discussions. They did all of the homework, and they were really, really, really enthused throughout the course of the class. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of work that's involved, and it's not so much work on the surface that goes left and right. It's work that also goes down inside to make you grapple and think about your life, where you want to go and where you've been. And so it's a challenging course. And so we implemented it here in our facility. We went out and got all the resources we needed, because there's a multimedia component that goes with it. And as with the reading that shows videos and films and a PowerPoint presentation, we need to get those resources in place to work as well. So we implemented it. A layperson taught it who's a volunteer. I was involved as a chaplain and in the selection of the guys and how the course went. We made a few revisions after the first 13-week session. We took a break, studied it, evaluated it, talked to the inmates who were involved, got their feedback, and then we started to involve some members of the community in the second class. And that is, the different community leaders would come and they would speak to us to introduce the night's habit every class for about the beginning 10 minutes. So we've had the mayor, we've had TV personalities, we've had some politicians, we've had different business people involved, and authors, different folks in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County community to come and speak, which gives the community a glimpse of what's happening, as well as the inmates a chance to hear one of the leaders talk about this particular habit and the power that it's had in their own lives and their own vocations. So we taught the second class that way, and then in 2014 we had 3 classes, and we're so impressed with how the results and how the benefits that had been shared with us from the men who took the class and their families. All that feedback happened really led us to expand the program down at the jail, where we began to have it for the women, incarcerated women in the Forsyth County Jail here in Winston-Salem. So we had 3 classes for them in 2014, and this year we're going to have 3 classes at the prison for the men and 3 classes at the jail for the women. So we're very excited to be actually in our 3rd year of 7 Habits, and we've had tremendous results and tremendous stories. We've had the community gather around and want to be involved and take ownership for their own crime problem here in our county. And we've had the inmates begin to tell us the benefits that they've had. And probably one of the unique stories was from about Lewis, who you've heard from on another video. But one of the anecdotes that came about that was that not long after Lewis was released and he took part in the very first class, he called me up early one morning before 7 o'clock and said, "Chaplain, do you know what I'm doing today?" I said, "No, Lewis, please tell me." And he goes, I'm going to be going to my first day at the job. My training period is over and my first day as an employee is starting. And he goes, if you know anybody in my area who needs a job, I believe I can help them to get one here at this company. Well, it just so happened that day, I ran into an ex-inmate who was in Lewis's area. I called Lewis back on the cell phone and said, Lewis, can you help Floyd with the job? And he was able to contact Floyd and make some assistance in Floyd getting just that. So we've seen the results. I said, Lewis, why would you want to help somebody else like that? And he said, Chaplain, it's habit number 6, synergy. Together, we are much better than we are apart. So we are very excited to continue and to ask you for your support and to share the good news about what we see happening in the lives of transforming this program, transforming the lives of people incarcerated in our community, restoring, reconnecting, and empowering them to get back into the community, live the lives that God wants them to have, and being the citizens and community members that we know they were created to be. Thank you.